Welcome to Grammar Steps Lesson 5. In this lesson, we're going to do things just a little bit differently. We're going to review what we've learned in lessons 1 through 4. So if you remember, we learned in lesson 1, subject and verb. Lesson 2, adding an adjective to the noun. Lesson 3, changing nouns to pronouns. And lesson 4, using those always verbs, am, is, and are. For lesson 5, we're going to review and synthesize. We're going to put it together. And we're going to do that by arranging and writing 2 sentences and then sorting those words that we use by part of speech. To do this, we're going to need 6 or more cutout words. So you can see my words down here. All I did was take an index card and cut them into 4 so that I have these rectangles. But you could easily just tear out strips of paper. It doesn't have to be neat or pretty. Or you could use Post-it notes. That's a really easy way to do this. So you can go ahead and copy my words, or you can choose some of your own. Just make sure you have an are, a they, a plural noun, a couple of adjectives to describe them, and then an action verb as well. Or you're free to just follow along with the sentence that we do. So 6 cutout words, and then we're going to review the parts of speech that we've gone over: nouns, adjectives, pronouns, and verbs. So let's get started. We have 6 words right here, and they're not really in any good order. We're going to make a couple of sentences. So the first thing we need to find is our action verb. Stop and think, which of these is an action verb? If you said prance, you are correct. So we have prance, and to make a sentence, we need to at least add a subject. And stop and think, which parts of speech can be a subject? I hope you said noun and pronoun, because that's the correct answer. But I want us to find the plural noun to use as a subject. So which of these words that are left could be the subject? Dun, 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 unicorns. So here we have unicorns prance. And remember, if I want to make sure it's a complete sentence, I would capitalize my U, put some punctuation here, and I have a subject and a verb, so I would have a complete sentence. But let's add some more information. I want to know what kind of unicorns prance. So let's add an adjective. I'm looking at our remaining words, and I see 2 choices. So we could say royal unicorns prance, or we could say magical unicorns prance. Either would work. My daughter did this actual lesson, and she chose royal, and her logic was that, well, all unicorns are magical, so let's make these special by saying they're royal. So here's our new sentence: royal unicorns prance. Again, we could change this to a capital R, add some punctuation, and we would have a complete sentence. Before we move on, let's find again, where's our verb and where's the subject? So the subject is both royal and unicorns. Remember, when we add an adjective in front of our subject noun, they both are part of the complete subject. All right. So let's go ahead and take our action verb, and I want to replace it with an always verb, one of those to be verbs. Which one? You are correct if you said are. In fact, this always verb is boxed in red because in our house, this is how we remember that they are always verbs. They're just that special. So now we have royal unicorns are. And of course, we want to know, what are they? So we need to add another adjective. Doo-doo-doo. Royal unicorns are magical. Absolutely true. Let's find that subject again. So we have royal unicorns, and we're going to replace it. And how do we replace subject nouns? We use subject pronouns. So we're going to replace it with they. And here's our second sentence. They are magical. All right, so we have our second sentence here. And let's put our first sentence back together. Now, if we use the they to replace royal unicorns, we have two sentences about royal unicorns. So we could actually put these sentences together to form a complete paragraph. A very, very short, simple paragraph, but a paragraph nonetheless. So we're going to write both of these out into our paragraph. But my question is, which sentence should go first? Which sentence? They are magical or royal unicorns prance? I hope you said this sentence should go first. Royal unicorns prance. And the reason is that if we are going to replace royal unicorns with they, we have to name our subject first before we replace it. If I just start by saying they are magical, our reader isn't going to know what we're talking about. It could be unicorns, it could be another animal, it could be a non-living thing. We could be talking about magical beings. We don't know. So we have to name it first and then replace it with a pronoun. So your job is to join these two sentences into a paragraph in the correct order. So when we did this lesson at our house, this is the writing that my kindergartner did afterwards. So you can see she wrote both sentences, royal unicorns prance, capitalization, punctuation, and then they are magical. Same thing, capital T, punctuation. We still are boxing our verbs and underlining our subjects. And of course, at the end, she got to draw her silly picture of her paragraph. The very last step with our words is that we're going to sort them into parts of speech that we've already practiced. So to sort our words, we're going to make labels of the parts of speech we've already talked about. Adjectives, nouns, pronouns, and verbs. We've talked about all four of these in grammar steps 1 through 4. So I just have Post-its. You could just write these on a piece of paper. You don't even need paper. You could just say, this is our adjective spot, noun spot, pronoun spot. But for our purposes, here's our labels. So we're going to start with the word prance. So stop and think, which part of speech and how do you know? Okay, I hope you said prance is a verb because it shows an action. Yay! Let's go to our next word. What about magical? What part of speech and how do you know? Magical is an adjective because it described our royal unicorns. It described a noun. And what about unicorns? Unicorns is a noun, a plural noun, because it's a living thing. Unicorns are animals, so they are living things. And what about they? What part of speech? They is a pronoun because it is used to replace a noun. In our case, it was used to replace unicorns. And what about royal? Royal is also an adjective because it was used to describe a noun, unicorns as well. And our last word, are. Remember, are is one of those special words that's always a verb that we learned from lesson number 4. So that was our last step to sort the words from the sentence that we just put together. And I want to show you one more example. This is an example that my older student did. She was not talking about magical unicorns. Instead, we incorporated some of her vocabulary words. So we have absolute monarchs conquer outraged people, and they are powerful. Same concept, but she has some higher level vocabulary, and then I let her add to her verb who or what was conquered, and she chose outraged people. And of course, her fun thing at the end was to illustrate her sentences. So I hope that you have fun trying this at home. You can put together the sentence that we just did or try your own, and I will see you for Grammar Steps Lesson 6.